Beware the magnet of hatred. Stop letting others drag you down.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's deep dive discussion. What I am going to deconstruct for you today is a uniquely hardcore and exceptionally precious set of materials, the Dharma teaching shared by the Buddha Activity Association in Australia. We are not going to talk about vague generalities today. Instead, we are diving straight into the real, physical mechanics of our minds. We will explore how those tiny, everyday thoughts, the ones you usually pay zero attention to, are quietly, step by step, completely reshaping your destiny. Are you ready? Let us jump right in. Let us start with a question. Do you believe that a single, minuscule thought can wipe out all the merit and good fortune you've spent so much time accumulating? I know that when we run into a traffic jam, or when someone stabs us in the back at work, we often vent a little in our minds or even throw a major temper tantrum. We assume that once we let off steam, the page is turned, right? However, this teaching shows us that this is not how it works at all. Under the laws of the universe, these seemingly trivial worldly annoyances and complaints are actually triggering a massive karmic tsunami. Next, let us look at the shocking truth behind it. Section E, the seeds of greed and the battle for mindfulness. The materials present an extremely sharp viewpoint. Think about how we exhaust ourselves every day, plotting to hold on to our small personal interests. That exhausting, desperate grasping is actually actively destroying our mindfulness. The Sutra on the 10 Virtuous Deeds reveals a fascinating paradox. The harder you clutch onto something out of fear of losing it, the more likely you are to attract resentful thieves, ultimately landing in a state of poverty, scarce blessings, and diminished virtue. Conversely, if you do not crave or grasp at all, not only do your body, speech, and mind achieve absolute freedom, but what you ultimately receive will far exceed what you originally sought. In other words, tight grasping is the exact beginning of loss. So how does our mind collapse step by step? The process is remarkably simple. Attachment to micro-interests initially. You might just be attached to a tiny bit of gain. Mindfulness collapses the moment you feel that this minor benefit is under even the slightest threat. Your mindfulness instantly shatters. Eruption of hatred, the demon of anger leaps out immediately. Confusion and recklessness finally. You are dragged into a muddled state of chaotic thoughts and reckless actions. A tiny spark of greed inevitably mutates into fatal anger. This is the precise mechanical process of mental collapse, exceedingly logical, yet deeply terrifying. Section R, ultimate destruction, the magnet of hatred. Pay close attention here, because the legendary magnet of hatred is about to enter the scene. The teaching, this is a brilliant metaphor, the magnet of hatred. What does this mean? You need to understand that anger is not merely a loss of emotional control or a blow to a relationship. In the physical laws of karma, it functions as a literal, high-powered repeller. The second you give in to anger, you release a powerful repulsive force outward. It automatically drives away all the good fortune, virtue, wisdom, and connection to the true Dharma surrounding you. You are effectively holding this magnet in your own hands, chasing away every good thing in the universe. Even worse, this repulsive force is not one way. It's two people lock horns, harboring mutual hatred and engaging in intense mental tug-of-war. Guess what happens? The repulsive force does not simply add together as 1 加1等于2. It explodes exponentially, accelerating the destructive speed 10 times over. The networks you painstakingly built, the positive connections you cultivated, and the storehouse of merit you saved over a long time, all of it crumbles into total ruin in the exact instant of that mutual confrontation. Let us look at a mind-boggling ratio. The energy cost of greed. Generating a single thought of greed consumes a unit of mental energy. The energy cost of hatred. Generating a single thought of hatred or throwing a tantrum consumes 0.000 units of mental energy. You heard that right, 0.000 times more for the exact same shift in thought. The karmic weight and destructive power of anger is 10,000 times that of greed. This explains why we feel completely drained and exhausted after a major outburst of rage. Every time you throw a temper, you are using thousands of times more energy to destroy yourself. To truly drive home how terrifying this destructive power is, the teaching specifically quotes an extremely stern warning from the Buddha in the Avatamsaka Sutra. The Buddha stated that he knew of no single fault greater than practitioners generating mutual hatred toward one another. Among all bad karmas, It ranks absolute first as the most fatal. Why? Because hatred does not merely reject the other person more terribly. It directly rejects the dharma carried within that person. This severs the root of all positive results you could ever attain. Section 3. A million obstacles, the blast radius of anger. The million obstacles described in the Avatamsaka Sutra refers to the actual blast radius after anger detonates. What exactly does it destroy? Let's break it down into 3 areas. Spiritually, hatred gradually turns you into a muddled, confused person, stripping away all your wisdom. Physically, your physical functions such as vision, hearing, and cognitive faculties decline and may even become impaired. Environmentally, you become isolated by those around you, constantly encountering toxic people and unfortunate events, falling into a vicious cycle of bad luck. Virtually every dimension of your life is slowly eroded by this force. According to the deep analysis in the original text, there is an even more tragic ultimate outcome. When all your merits and wisdom are completely repelled, and even your basic bodily functions degenerate, you gradually regress into a vegetative-like state. What makes it truly chilling is that because you long ago drove away all positive conditions through hatred, you won't even possess the merit to attract someone to patiently care for you. It paints an utterly ruthless picture of losing every single capability. Section 4. Everyday karma in the kitchen and the fields. Now, all of this might sound abstract and distant, but it isn't at all. These universal laws play out in our kitchens and offices every single day. The materials share several down-to-earth examples. For instance, deliberately ruining someone else's robe in a shared kitchen out of spite, or running out in the middle of the night to trample a neighbor's crops, or consider spiritual teachers who throw ignorant fits of rage to control their followers. This is identical to us being jealous of a coworker, playing petty tricks behind their back, or engaging in road rage. You think you retaliated and won. You are dead wrong. You are simply racing to the bottom with others. When you do these things, you not only take on the other person's bad karma, but you also completely crush your own vitality. The ironclad law of cause and effect reproduces reality at a strict EBE ratio. The teaching mentions a classic story from the Karma Sastra of Bhikkhuni. In a fit of sudden rage, the result, she herself ended up suffering the actual karmic consequence of being reborn as a female dog in samsara. Karma operates exactly like an echo in a valley. It never misses by a millimeter. Whatever you throw out into the world is what you yourself will ultimately receive in full. Section 5. The true way of patience, breaking the chains. Faced with such a terrifying chain reaction of karma, what should we actually do? The patient hermit in the Diamond Sutra sets an immensely inspiring example for us. There was not a single trace of resentment in his mind, none of the "I can't take this anymore" rage that ordinary people feel, because his patience was 100% pure and completely free from hatred. The moment he made a vow powered by that pure force for his body to be restored, a genuine miracle occurred. What does this tell us? True patience is never about suppressing a belly full of fire while forcing a smile. It is about having no hatred arise from the very root, absolutely refusing to race to the bottom with other beings. Conversely, if the destructive power of hatred is so vast, the force of positive karma is equally astonishing and reliable. The text highlights 2 examples. Someone who chose to starve rather than keep their last 2 copper coins, offering them completely. Someone who devoutly offered a single blanket. The material value of their offering seemed insignificant, but because their intent was entirely pure, that positive karmic force transformed flawlessly into an inexhaustible good fortune across countless lives in samsara. This firmly reaffirms the law: whatever you give away without reservation, the universe will surely return to you in the most bountiful way. After our deep deconstruction of the materials shared by the Buddha Activity Association in Australia today, the truth becomes strikingly clear. Not a single one of your thoughts is weightless. They carry immense karmic weight, continuously reshaping your future minute by minute. So in the days ahead, when you run into petty friction in the kitchen, unfairness at work, or disagreements in daily life, stop and ask yourself, is the thought I am having right now building a magnet to attract blessings? Or am I pressing a countdown button to my own destruction? I hope today's hardcore breakdown brought you some fresh insights. See you in the next deep dive.